everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 13 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in ECW history with match number 38 on our list, which is the six-man tag team match between Kaientai DX of TAKA Michinoku, Dick Togo, and Terry Boy Benz Teo against the team of the Great Sasuke, Gran Hamada, and Gran Naniwa from the March 24th, 1997 edition of ECW Hardcore TV. Now, I'll mention with some of this early Hardcore TV stuff, the dates that I give might not be the exact dates that they aired on television because the show was in some different markets. If you search online, you get all sorts of different dates for the airings. So for this match in particular, this episode of Hardcore TV, I had 3 different dates that I could choose between to choose. I went with March 24th, 97. So there you go. If you're looking at an archive or something like that, you may see a different date though. So this match aired on TV shortly before the Barely Legal pay-per-view, and this match was billed as a Barely Legal preview. The reason being is that throughout 1996, Michinoku Pro Wrestling in Japan started to get really hot and started to become a hotbed for these, we'll call them like lucharesu, multi-man tag team matches that, really took a heavy lucha libre influence, but, also kept with that kind of Japanese pro wrestling style, and blended them all together. And this was starting to explode over into the US, with the WCW Cruiserweight division and whatnot. So Michinoku Pro was doing really great, really innovative multi-man tags that, we would go on to see in the independents and stuff like Chikara and whatnot. So ECW, finger on the pulse, as always, decided that we're going to bring these guys over and basically do a showcase match with them on Barely Legal, which is really cool and something that you don't see promotions really do too much nowadays. And I'd love to see that adopted once again with a promotion like AEW, where you can take, these international promotions or maybe even independent promotions that, have a really hot ticket match and, give it that exposure on the pay-per-view, because it's win-win for both, right? You get a really good match on your pay-per-view, and, you bring exposure to this other promotion. So that's what ECW was doing in this, short-lived, I'll say, working relationship they had with Michinoku Pro. So a couple months before Barely Legal, these guys came in for 2 shows, and this match was one of those 2 shows. It was originally just a fan cam. The match was so good, though, that ECW used it essentially as a hype piece, like I said, for Barely Legal. This match was supposed to be a rematch with all 6 guys at Barely Legal. Unfortunately, Naniwa was unable to make the show for whatever reason, and we had Masato Yakashiji fill in his place. We will talk more about that Barely Legal match another day. But for this one here, it is a fantastic showcase. Nice hot crowd, not the ECW arena, right? So this is just a house show loop crowd, but they exploded, obviously not really having seen a match like this before. So what you get out of these M-Pro tag matches, or these, Kaientai DX ones, is you get, a really, really solid heel team that bumps well for the faces, has fantastic triple teams in their own right, and is able to, really put good heat on the faces, leading to, a hot, crazy closing sequence, right? Like what you would get out of the, the independent kind of multi-man matches. And that's exactly what we get here. So the faces, they get a little bit of shine early. Everybody gets to hit some signature stuff. Hamada hits a pescado to the floor. Sasuke hits a cartwheel cross body. Naniwa hits, the crab walk, elbow drop that he does off the ropes. So, you clearly establish, okay, these are the good guys. They do cool moves. And then from there, Kaientai just runs wild. They hit, all of their triple teams. They go for Sasuke and Naniwa's masks. They, do the classic Kaientai pose where they tie a guy up and Dick Togo goes on top and, shows off his muscles while he's on there, right? Just all of this great, scummy crowd baiting stuff. They get a spike pile driver on Hamada. They hit a triple powerbomb on Sasuke years and years before the Shield was doing that sort of thing. Terry Boy was Men's Teo's alter ego. He was hugely influenced by Terry Funk, so, you know, he took on that moniker. He hits a spinning toe hold, which is great because the big storyline in ECW at the time was, you know, Terry Funk trying to come back to win the ECW World Heavyweight title, which he would end up doing at Barely Legal. So again, that kind of tied into what was going on in ECW at the time. We get a great Sasuke hot tag, and that's what takes us into the incredible finishing run that we would end up getting. So Sasuke comes in, he hits a big cabrata, he hits the cartwheel elbow. There's a fantastic spot where he hits an Asai moonsault into TAKA Michinoku into the stage. There's a stage in the venue, and they kind of run back into it as though it was like, you know, like a lucha dive into the guardrail. But when he hits this dive, it's so good because Dick Togo is going to hit him, and Sasuke dives, you know, with the backflip just before Togo could hit him. So a really creative way into what would be a normal dive. The heels take back over momentarily. TAKA plants somebody with a Michinoku driver. Before he can go for the cover, though, he notices Sasuke on the floor, and he hits just his incredible Spaceman plancha, one of my favorite dives in wrestling history. TAKA would do it so well, just would run, no hands, jump up to the top rope, and hit just this beautiful, gorgeous crossbody where he'd get like 100 feet off of it, right? Or so it seemed. So he wipes Sasuke out with that. That allows Togo and Teo to hit a Doomsday Device on Naniwa. They only get 2, and Dick Togo puts him away with a powerbomb and his big Dick Togo back senton off the top rope for 3. Huge ovation from the crowd. This match was great. All 6 guys looked amazing. They brought that taste of Michinoku Pro, you know, to the US for the first time, and they would ultimately top it at Barely Legal. This match I feel is a little bit of a hidden gem because that Barely Legal match gets so much hype, but this one is so great in its own right. It's just lots of fun. And again, for being a match in 1997, it holds up so well today. Sure, we have crazier dives and crazier sequences and stuff like that, but again, this is just such a groundbreaking match, and it's just as good today as it was back then. You know, I say it all the time, but ECW Hardcore TV, available on the WWE Network, might be on Peacock, I don't know. You can find it online if you look hard enough. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so you never miss one of these videos. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50, and you can please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.